Are critics right in saying that the angelology found in Daniel is too far advanced for a 6th century Jew? In this video, you'll find out. Reminder to hit the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell to stay up to date as new videos come out. And if you're interested in supporting this ministry, just go to justscripture.org and click on the support page. An old, but still sometimes used, argument against early authorship of Daniel is that the book contains way too far advanced angelology for a 6th century Jew. A way that this would be stated is saying that the descriptions of the watchers and angels in Daniel reflects more of a 2nd century BC understanding of angels that's found in the Book of Enoch. Now, if you don't know what the Book of Enoch is, it's okay. It's an apocryphal book that contains 5 sub-books to it that was composed largely during the intertestamental period, so basically between the 4th and 1st century BC. What critics point to is that the word watchers and the naming and roles of angels isn't described anywhere else in the Old Testament, but more is exposited on in the 2nd century BC. Now, it is true that the term watchers and the naming of angels only occur here in Daniel in the Old Testament, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the Old Testament is silent on the descriptions of heavenly beings. Here are a few examples that we should be able to easily recall. The cherubim, who were stationed to guard the tree of life right after the fall in Genesis 3, so all you really need to do is flip to the 3rd page. Next, you could think of the 2 angels that stayed at Lot's house in Sodom, or Jacob's dream where he saw angels ascending and descending from heaven. You have the Ark of the Covenant, which had 2 cherubim covering the mercy seat right on top of it. And you have Satan going before God in the book of Job, and Isaiah seeing the seraphim in heaven before the throne room of God in Isaiah 6. So in the Old Testament, you have the cherubim, you have angels, seraphim, Satan, and even the famous sons of God in Genesis 6 that are also found in Job 1, 2, and 38. So you can see that the Old Testament isn't silent about heavenly beings, but the main one that all believers should be aware of from the Old Testament is the angel of the Lord. This phrase, the angel of the Lord, occurs 74 times in the Old Testament. There are famous stories in which this figure shows up over and over again helping the people of Israel. Another synonymous phrase for this figure is the angel of God. 7 times this exact wording is used and again shows up in famous scenes. We see the 2 phrases are speaking of the same figure because of the connection in Genesis 16 and 21 of Hagar and Ishmael, and Judges 6 and 13, where the 2 phrases are used reflexively. The angel of the Lord and the angel of God are the same figure. The story that I want to draw some attention to, though, is Moses and the burning bush. It says, "And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am." Verses 2 and 4 might give an impression that there are 2 characters here, but we don't have 2 bushes. We have one with both the angel of the Lord and God are said to be in the midst of the bush. The simple solution to this is that the angel of the Lord is God. And I'm not going beyond what's being described here, because in verse 6 it says, "Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God." The grammar still places the angel as the one who is talking, yet the angel says he is the God of the patriarchs. This connection is solidified in Genesis 31:31 that reads, "And the angel of God spoke unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am." Note that this is the exact same thing that Moses said as well. And 31:12, "And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see, all the rams which lead upon the cattle are ringed straight, speckled and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban has done unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar, and where you made a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred." The angel of God clearly said he is God. The point here is that this figure is best understood as the visible Yahweh who constantly showed up throughout the Old Testament to help his people. But for us, he's also a key figure in helping us understand the concept of the Godhead. But overall, we do see that the Old Testament is filled with heavenly beings constantly being described and helping out his people, which ultimately easily refutes the critic's argument. Reminder to hit the subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell, hit the like button, and leave a comment. And don't forget to visit us at justscripture.org. In the meantime, stay salty.